Good afternoon. My name is Top Clark. I'm the president of MACT, the Music Association of Central Texas, here in Waco. We're headquartered here in Waco, but we serve an area about 70 miles around Waco in a big circle. But anyway, we have been having a promotion for our members. We've been featuring a member or an artist, a member that's a great live performer. And we've been doing this for several months now, but I'm sitting here today with one of our board members who has actually been very instrumental in a lot of things that MACT has done recently. And he's been a big help in that area, getting things set up and running things. And James, I really can't express to you how much I appreciate you doing all that, because that used to fall on me a good amount of time. And of course, right now I couldn't handle it anyway. We'd be SOL. Anyway, James, I met James at a board meeting, and he was just sitting there, and I'd never seen him before, and I think he had Diane with him. His wife was with him. Right. Was Diane with him today?
Yeah, she was with. I don't know about the first one, but she did start to me. She's a member, but yeah. I don't know if she came to the first one.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, I met James at a meeting and really liked him, and we since then have got to know each other a little bit better. And of course, I don't get to see James all the time, so I don't know him real well. So maybe we'll both get educated today on who James Stone is. Huh? Tell me about yourself, James. I know you recently moved back to Central Texas, right?
Well, I've got some family that's out in West Texas, but no, I've had a crazy life. I moved. It's been just a little over 3 years, as a matter of fact. October was 3 years. Got the heck out of California and came home, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, you didn't like it out in Cali too much?
No. I'll just leave it at that. Couldn't afford to live there or nothing else, but a lot of people don't know that, the farther west anyway, there's a lot of areas that are a lot like Texas. I mean, rolling hills and trees, and people have four-wheel drives and ride horses and everything else, but the big cities don't talk for us and don't get along with them.
Yeah. Well, James had been in a band, been in several bands, I know, but the band he's currently in is Madstone.
Right.
And the interesting thing about Madstone is Madstone actually has a band member in it. I'm not going to say who. He is actually in two bands that are going to be recognized as Artists of the Month. James' band, Madstone, is going to be recognized in January of 2001. We kind of put this between the years here, our 2020 artists, but that's the way we're going to do it, right, James?
Yes, correct.
So we recorded everybody a performance video, and those are going on Texas Music Cafe. Chris O'Rourke has been recording those for us and doing a great job. A couple guys have been working with him on that. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing James's video. I was there the night they were going to record it, but I had to leave before they really got into it, so I missed that. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But James, tell us about how you got started in music. I guess you were in Cali then, right?
To be honest, in fourth grade, living in Northern California, actually, I started playing the cello. And got pretty good. I did a couple of, beginner events sort of thing. Made it to intermediate orchestra by the time I left. But then we moved to the Philippines, and I was in, fifth or sixth grade back in the Philippines, and there wasn't a whole lot to do, but I did have a guitar, so I played around and, other silly little kid instruments and things along those lines, but I still played guitar. Right. Then we moved to Nigeria for a year and didn't really get a whole lot of anything there. But we moved back to Virginia, near Washington, D.C., in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and I got back into orchestra. And by the 8th grade, I was selected to go play for the Northern Virginia Symphony Orchestra, which was about a 75-piece orchestra that played at the Kennedy Center with a nationally renowned guy and all of that other stuff. And then, I got the bug in 9th grade. I had an awesome teacher. We were playing gigs, PTAs, school events, and things along those lines, and anybody that would have us. But it was a quartet, so did that, and And then we moved to Nicaragua for a year, and actually still played quite a bit there. Got some flamenco type training while I was there from a couple of teachers. And then won't get into the whole story, but came back to San Jose and lived in a dormitory. And then during that time was some of the first times I actually played out in front of some people. But anyway, when I got out of high school, I joined a band. Interestingly enough, it was a guy named Mark Madstone and myself. And so James Stone, that's where Madstone was born. I have shared this before, but a Madstone, and did not know this at the time, neither one of us. I didn't know it for years after that, but apparently that's some sort of there is a thing called a Madstone, which is in horses and large animals, basically a hard hairball. But
oh my God,
they used to believe, they used to believe
hard hairball.
Yeah, that it had medicinal qualities, would soak up poisons and things like that. So gross anyway. But when I left, and we played all the time, and I've been in a band ever since. A lot of different bands. Probably the most significant.
So you have never been not involved in music since an early age. Let's put it that way.
Pretty much. Till I die.
Good. Well, of course, I've seen your band play maybe 2, maybe 3 times. I think maybe 2 times. And you did something one night that, there's a big discussion here in the musical business about covers versus originals. And I guess that'll always be around.
Sure.
When you talk about, pop music bands or bands that play popular music. But anyway, there's a big debate about that. But I know you write your own songs. But one night when I saw you play down at Temple at O'Brien's, you actually started doing a set, and you did a whole set of your own songs, and nobody noticed it, I don't think, but me and maybe the guys in your band. But they were amazing. I'd heard a couple of 3 of them before. You play acoustic guitar at meetings and sang, and I think I'd heard a couple of songs before, but I never heard them with a band. They were really awesome. If you like rock music, you like guys that know how to rock. We may have gray hair, right? But we still know how to rock. Don't we, James?
Absolutely.
And so go see James if you can. Now, let me ask you, tell me about the band right now, James. How did they come about, and who's in the band?
Well, right now I've got Tom Jones and a guy named Joshua Sperling. And they've been playing with Casey Stanislaw as well. Be honest with you, I met Tom with T.W. Sullivan on the way to one of the MACT meetings. And, it wasn't right away or anything. Did anything happen, but I was kind of looking for a better bass player, and Tom sure fits the bill. And then and we had tried out Joshua and ended up with someone else for a little while, but then we brought him back in, and he's really become an incredible drummer, one of the best I've ever played with. A lot of people don't know he was a jazz drummer at Temple College, and actually, I guess one year came in 3rd, and the other year he came in 1st. So, wow. For all Texas. So, he had already distinguished himself. And then you're absolutely right. Rock and roll. If you're going to play rock and roll, I like energy. I like being. I like your entire soul, your entire body, and singing at the same time. I mean, you really have to just empty yourself and just let the song come out, because you can't. You can't think about it. I mean, you're doing too many things. You're only playing one instrument. You can look around. You can do all the rest of the stuff.
I agree with you. Some of the worst times you can have performing is if you got your mind on something else, and you're trying to think about something else, or think about what you're doing. It's like when I learn a song. If I'm going to sing and play, I learn how to play it first, right?
Right.
I get the song so I can play it in my sleep. And then I can work on the vocals, because I've always had difficulty, singing. It's not something that comes natural to me, as you can probably tell if you ever hear me sing. But anyway, I love to sing.
Yeah, I kind of do things, like learning a song right now, an old Outlaws tune that I love. That's very difficult. And
Oh yeah.
so I get it and get it all tabbed out and, get a rough idea. But one of the things I find on certain songs, especially if the singer is not the guitar player and he's just singing, a lot of times the vocals don't match the rhythm, which makes it really difficult to hit something and have it come out of your mouth at the same time. So sometimes I have to kind of play around, at least with the vocals and the rhythm, to kind of get that synchronized in such a way I can do it.
You have to kind of get the phrasing where it feels right with what you're playing or how you're playing.
Exactly.
Then you're comfortable. What I know you do a lot of live performance. You're probably one of the only guys that's been playing a little bit since the COVID crap hit. You've been playing a few gigs here and there, I know.
Yeah.
What do you what about performing live appeals to you the most? Why do you do it?
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you. Maybe it's just my personality. When I was younger, I was so shy, especially on the stage. To be honest with you, I really didn't communicate very well when I was younger, and music was a way for me to communicate, to just feel something and actually describe it to someone else. But for me, my gosh, when you get a good crowd and they're all having a blast, I'm having a blast. I call them woohoo moments, if you want to call it that. Where you pull out at a break and you're just high-fiving each other, and it's like, those things are, to me, are like those moments. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people get is, live performance is, so many band members, they try and, what's your reason for being a musician? For me, it's about the music. And when you get the music sounding so good that you notice, your bandmates notice, and you just have that little look, that's like a huge thing for me too, because you found something, that was really hard to find. Right.
It's a real strong emotional connection.
Yeah.
Which I've always been fascinated with our emotions.
Something I have to say this because a lot of people don't really realize that, but when musicians play, we are communicating with each other. We're talking to each other. We're looking at each other. We're listening to each other, and all the rest of the other stuff. Musicians get to communicate on a human level that other people will never understand until you do it.
Exactly. It's a whole different thing than just sitting around a table talking to people. You're right, it's a whole different way to communicate. So let's get back to your songwriting, because songwriting is just a subject that fascinates me, because I do write songs, but I've never performed any of my songs live because I don't think they're good enough, okay? I'm very picky, I guess. And so if I put something out there, I really want it to be real good. And I know that doesn't always happen when you write tunes. You write tunes that are better than others. But what do you like? Do you like the songwriting process? Is it something you sit down and do every day, or just wait till an idea hits you? Or how do you approach it, and how do you do it?
I've got to let something hit me. I don't know where they come from. Sometimes it's 3:00 in the morning. I got to drag myself out of bed and go write it down because it'll be gone. I've driven around, something came into my head, and then I had to go downtown, and it's like, you go into the store, and then like get back in your car and go, oh crap, forgot it. And then you got to think about, oh, there it is, and then by the time you get home, you got to write all that out and get it down. But the whole process is something I think that maybe people don't understand. I have my own unique way of going about it. I'll write a song, finally get the song down. A lot of times the words take a long time for them to really come around, because you're right. It has to be something new. It has to sound different. It can't be trite. It's not the same old damn words. You need to say something in a different way that makes sense. And so I get the song down. And the first thing for me to do is bring it to the band and let the drummer put his touch on it. Let the bass. I'll be honest with you. In the many years that I've been writing music, I've never told the bass player what to do. I've never told the drummer what to do. I've never told what the other guitar player. If I don't particularly care for something, I might go, well, can you try something different there? Or, maybe try this, but that's about it. And because I'll tell you, when you get 3 or 4 guys to the point they all love it. They're playing it. It's something that, they wrote, and everybody likes it. Now you're starting to get a good song. So then, the words, and you talked about phrasing. Phrasing is really the difference between a lot of okay songs, a lot of good songs, and things along those lines. Plus, there's a lot of things when you're on your vocals. If you sing, I know, where you're really not putting any effort into it, as opposed to, hey, yeah, do something like that. That's got power. Exactly. It's in your face. You know what I mean? I like to talk to people and tell them something, so that phrasing changes and changes and changes. Sometimes there's little words that need to be taken out that don't belong because you can't understand what I'm saying when you're singing it live. It's just too many words, right? Just gonna get so you just take let's see. I was just thinking of an example, but anyway. So there you go. So now you're playing the song. You'll all love it. It sounds good. But as you know, sometimes you play it and then you play it twice or 2, 3 times. You really haven't figured out a real signature lead that you can do each time. Really haven't figured out the background vocals. So then you decide you're going to go into the studio. And the song morphs again. And maybe even again. And then you got somebody in the studio who's adding his ideas. And you end up going through and taking it home. And, I like to make a CD that has that portion of where the lead is, just before, just after, step in, step out, and then put it on a CD and put it 8, 12 times so that I can just do that lead over and over and over again. Because each time you find a little tiny little bit that sounds cool until you finally find this phrase that fits the song, makes sense, it's signature, it's something you can repeat each time, and then you build on that. And maybe do a few variations on it and all the rest of this stuff. And then that's what you put down in the studio. And then you got all the vocals that you end up doing, and where you get that big full sound. It's such a long process to get
that's
a really good song out of it.
James, people will throw a CD in their, in the CD player in the car, in the house, wherever they have a CD player. And they'll throw that thing in there and they'll listen and they'll like the music. But they really don't understand how much work and dedication it does to make a CD, how it takes to make a CD like that. It's hard work, And I want to thank you for, all the recordings you've done. I've got one of your recordings here. I think it's your most recent. I've got one of your recordings, but I want to encourage everybody. Recording's great, but, live music is where it's at for me, and I think James too. It's all about that connection, and it's hard to get that in a studio, but when you've got a crowd that's with you and your band and they're enjoying what you're doing and you're all clicking on all the cylinders are, being popped and everything's running real tight, it's a wonderful feeling. But anyway, I want to thank James again and his band Madstone. They are the January 2021 Artist of the Month, and want to thank James again for everything he does. James is at meetings. James helps put on events. And so if you see James, go up and say, hey, and he'll be glad to talk to you.
Absolutely.
And James, thank you for being a part of MACT. And anything you want to say about MACT to the audience out there or the people watching and listening?
Yeah, absolutely. For one, we've done a lot of work with the website. Up until then, we had some meetings, we had some events, things, and they were more, I'm going to say, geographically centered, without getting into it. But now with the website, it really doesn't matter where you are. I will tell you, if you're a professional musician and you're out playing and you're out doing things, especially if you have original music, you need to be part of an organization that's dedicated to giving you a hand. And there's all these events. Obviously, with COVID, things have been slow down heavily, but we are going to have a number of different events each year. And each one of those things are opportunity for you to get your name out there and get it going. But on the website, there's a place to put your Facebook event feed. There's even for any venues that might watch this and stuff. We've got a Spotify list where we're putting your music out there. We've got the Texas Music Cafe where some of our members are getting on TV. Just last week, John and May was on. I believe, hopefully January 10th, while I'm out there and stuff, we don't know if that show's going to go on. It all depends on the TV channel, but it may be a couple of us that are on.
So one of the great things to you about MACT having, being relatively new, you haven't lived here all your life or a majority of your life, but being relatively new is that connection you can make with musicians and venue owners and people like that here in Central Texas, right?
Yes, but
so I want to encourage everybody to join.
Too. It's cheap advertising. You need to get your name out there.
Man, I was figuring yesterday, James, how much advertising you actually receive if you go on that website and put your info in and send us a couple of videos. It's astronaut. It's hundreds of dollars a year that you would have to spend to get the same amount of promo you get from on our website for free.
Yeah, but people don't seem to realize that. I have probably 30, 35 different websites dedicated to Madstone over the years that you have to keep up, which is a total pain in the ass and everything else. Not all of them, but a few of them cost money. And so my budget is at least $40, $45 a month if I don't do anything else, just keep my websites going.
We just want to encourage everybody to visit the website. Give them the web address, will you, James?
That's mactx.org.
Oregon. mactx.org. Visit us. Come see us when we have meetings resume, because we're going to be around forever. The COVID's not, but we're going to be around forever.
Absolutely.
So anyway, thanks again, James, for your time today. And appreciate you and appreciate your band. And look forward to seeing you soon, buddy.
Thank you,
Peace
Tom.
out.
Peace out.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right.